What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? I'll wait for a couple seconds before I get started. Um, yeah, if you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that. It's the SJG HBCU Game Day. I got a little bit of news for you. Some news today, and then we can also talk about some of the things that have been going on in the transfer portal. If folks have questions or trying to see where people are. But it's yeah. So today it's April 10th, 2022, and take you guys to the front page of HBCUGameDay.com right now. And the first story that we've got up there is Norfolk State. They have done it again, a second time in a couple weeks. They landed a former recruit that a lot of schools were interested in a couple years back in 2021. His name is Khalil Mating. He is actually spent the last couple years at Buffalo, but before that, he started his. He was actually committed to Howard University. He was headed to play for Coach Kenny Blakeney, right on the heels actually of McCord Maker. So the same year that Maker committed and was preparing to play, Khalil Mating, who played his high school basketball in High Point, North Carolina, at the Burlington School, decided to jump into the transfer portal, decided to commit to Howard University. And so, they already had McCord Maker. They were looking to add Khalil Mating, who's a legit 6'9" kid who was at one point considered one of the top prospects in high school basketball in the state of North Carolina. If you know anything about the state of North Carolina, that's not to be taken lightly. A talented young man. So he actually committed to Howard back in 2020. And then things kind of went south for Howard for a while. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had McCord Maker. He only played a couple of games. Howard ended up having a season where COVID-19 just kind of ruined their season. They only got to play a handful of games, had to shut it down in like February. And of course, everybody knows McCord Maker ended up leaving about, around this time after Mating committed to Howard. He decided to have a change of mind, a change of heart, and he went over to the University of Buffalo. So he's played the last 2 seasons there at the University of Buffalo. And, if you read the story already on HBCUGameDay.com, he didn't play a lot. He only played 13 games. He didn't get to play a lot of games, and he didn't get to play a lot of time, but he's, showed some signs. Last year he got to play and a career high. I think he played, maybe double-figure minutes for the first time. He scored in double figures. Also, has shown talent for blocking shots. And so he is decided that he's going to take his talents to Norfolk State. And it just so happens that this comes almost 2 weeks after his former teammate, his high school teammate, Jamari Thomas, who started high school at the university. Who started college at the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, decided that he was going to take his talents to Norfolk State as well. So, as you guys know, or anybody that follows MEAC basketball or HBCU basketball, Norfolk State has been, one of the premier programs for the last couple of years. And this year they made it all the way to the MEAC championship game. Weren't able to get it done and beat Howard. But they, continue to be a program. That program is something that Coach Jones over there has built out in his tenure at Norfolk State University. He's been there for a decade now. He's won a lot of games. And so, it's a really exciting time for them. They're going to be missing Joe Bryant, of course. They're one of their top players since they've been in Division I basketball. They're also going to be missing Chris Bankston. He was a big man for him. So you figure you get Jamari Thomas, who, if you go back, he didn't have the greatest stats. Like Mating, he didn't play a lot his first year. He did get quite a bit more playing time as a sophomore, and his numbers started to go up. So we'll see if he can make a dent in what Joe Bryant did, because obviously he's a big-time player. He's a guy who is going to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament this week. That news is also up on HBCUgameday.com. So, again, make sure you guys are checking that out. So Norfolk State is trying to reload via the transfer portal. But it's not the only transfer portal news that we have that kind of connects to HBCUs today. So also on the page, on our website, if you go over just a couple stories over, we've got Jalen Johnson. He's a guy that SWAC fans will know. He played for Alabama A&M for 3 seasons, had 3 really good seasons. And his last 2, he was all SWAC player. Last year, after his coach, Dylan Howard, was dismissed, he decided to get into the portal. And so here we are. So, it's definitely an interesting time covering college basketball right now and where we are, and for HBCUs, because, we also have the transfer portal. And I don't know if you guys saw today, the stat is out that 1 out of every 5, so that's 20%. I wasn't a math major, but I do know that is 20% of Division I basketball players have entered the transfer portal, which is a crazy number. Obviously some of them will go on. Some of them are looking to move up. Some of them are being forced to look down. But that's where we are in college basketball right now. So, you look at a guy like Jalen Johnson, he could actually come back to an HBCU. We all actually had an instance last year. UAPB's leading scorer, he hit the transfer portal and came back, and Sean Doss Jr., and he was able to be a significant part of what UAPB was able to do this year. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that you may get a guy like Jalen Johnson back. But, it's just really, as we look through things, the transfer portal, again, has transformed college basketball. For HBCUs, it's been a gift and a curse, just like for a lot of non-Power 5 programs. And I mean, even you see North Carolina losing one of their top players. It's always been, the chance for players to move around freely and do what they want to do has had some pros and cons. We see, Norfolk State, you talk about Chris Bankston. He's a guy who actually transferred in from Arkansas Pine Bluff. From the University of Arkansas Little Rock. He had 2 really great years at Norfolk State, helped them win a title last year and get right back there again, and he's in the draft. So you got guys like that, and then you've got guys like Steve Settle at Howard University, who is someone who came in, underrated player. Coach Kenneth Blakeney was able to find him. He's been able to find diamonds in the rough, and he definitely proved himself to be one the last couple of seasons. He had a big game against Kansas, and now, automatically he's in the transfer portal as well. So, the transfer portal, again, has transformed basketball all overall, but especially for HBCU. So, if you guys are down in the chat and you have any questions or any comments about players moving around the HBCU ranks, what do you think? We can take Jalen Johnson for an example. He's a guy who was an all SWAC player. He averaged 16 a game at Alabama A&M. He transfers to Milwaukee. Not the biggest name in the world, but he transfers up to Milwaukee, and he didn't get the playing time. It wasn't that he forgot how to play, or it wasn't even that the level of play was so much higher than it was, but his ability, his playing time was cut so much. He averaged 6 points a game in less than 13 minutes. So, again, you don't have to be a math major to know, that these guys, he's scoring almost, every couple of minutes he's on the court. So he can still play at a high level, but there are only so many players. There's only so many spots. And that's the reality, when you go into the transfer portal. It hasn't really been traditionally kind to a lot of the HBCU guys, who have gone there. So it'll be interesting to see, and as we look, we have a transfer portal tracker on HBCUgameday.com. We're updating it daily. Shout out to Dom. She holds us down there and lets us know what everything is going on. So, we got Jamari Thomas, who transferred to the university, to Norfolk State University from UNC Wilmington. I'll show you a little bit of the highlights in a second about why this duo may really if they can come together, they may really be difference makers for Norfolk State. Well, we've got Dominic Bruton from Alcorn State, um, Luke Thurian from Hampton. Um, Again, we talked about Steve Settle already. A major player, big time player there. He'll go somewhere else. Will he play as much? We don't know. History says probably not, but there are always exceptions to the rule. Howard had a really great transfer a couple years ago, James Daniel, who actually led the NCAA in scoring at Howard. He went to Tennessee and didn't quite pan out for him. He wasn't able to really improve his draft stock or anything. But then you look at a guy like another Howard guy, RJ Cole. He's someone that uh, folks definitely knew about. Going in to high school, he was actually recruited by Coach Nickelberry, who's no longer there. Played a couple years there, and then decided to move on. Went to UConn, and he's been a great contributor for them. So if we look back, Alabama A&M, another of Johnson's teammates, and that is Garrett Hicks. He is in the transfer portal as well. Again, you can go to our website, hbcugameday.com. We'll have all the updates and all the insights. Yeah, Oscar, NSU, Coach Johnson, he's in Norfolk State. The 757 has a really rich tradition of great basketball, and Virginia overall. But as you see, and Coach Jones is actually a New York State guy, so he's from New York. So pretty interesting. But he, obviously was able to see that these guys from down in North Carolina were really good, and they made some stops, and so now here they are heading over to Norfolk State to the MEAC. So I'll give you guys a little taste of Jamari and Mating, because and what they were able to do at the Burlington School. This is from 2021, the state 2A championship game. There you go, state championship game. This is from our friends at the Hoop State. Um, let's see. That's Jamari Thomas right there. As you can see, he's got really great leaping ability. Let's see if we can get some more of their highlights. Let's see. Couple more highlights. There's some more Jamari Thomas. Turns the ball over there. He'll look to secure that at Norfolk State. Sure, Coach Jones will work on that. Again, this is from 2021. So these guys are 2 years older, ideally 2 years better. Let's see. There's Jamari right there. You see, he's got passes it to Mating. So hopefully for Norfolk State, they're hoping to see a lot more of that. There's Jamari, show a little bit of his athleticism. Very easy, very easy. He's got good bounce. He actually was recruited by North Carolina A&T. Here he goes. Nice little move there. So he's going to be going up against the MEAC. He'll show the leaping ability again. Yeah. So again, this is 2 years ago against high school competition, but it's 2 years ago. He's 2 years older. That's Mating number 2 with the mask, as you'll see. Of course, this is during when COVID was riding high here in North Carolina. More Mating. So as you see, these guys are athletic. They know how to play, and yeah, as you see, now they're also both winners. So again, Coach Jones is getting some guys who are talented, but also winners as well. So yeah, the portal is crazy. I talked to some coaches, and they're fans of the portal, and other coaches, not so much. but everybody's got to deal with it one way or another at this point, because guys, especially at the at all of the mid-major and low-major levels at D2, at D1, are hitting the transfer portal. But even some guys in D2, like Samaj Teal from Winston-Salem State, who said he's going to announce his transfer destination uh, on Tuesday. So it's just it's the new normal, as we've been saying a lot the last couple of years. The transfer portal, where you can now go one time anywhere. So again, if you guys have any questions in the comment, let me know what you guys think. Thought about the tape there, and that is of Khalil Mating and as well as Jamari Thomas. Both those guys are going to Norfolk State University. Um, we did lose a great player in Justin Wright, who is going um, to Loyola Marymount. So very interested to see how he'll do there. He averaged 16 points a game for North Carolina Central this year as a junior. I see Trey Cruz is going from Barton College to A&T. So okay, so Barton is, for those who don't know, Barton is a D2 school in North Carolina, a private D2 school, and it's going to be very interesting because this transfer portal, I don't think what a lot of guys and a lot of people talk about how it messed up opportunities for the high school players. Actually, what happened was a lot of guys stuck around. Okay, got you. So Trey Cruz is heading from Barton to A&T. So got you. Yeah. I think it's very much players kind of being reassessed. There's some guys that started off D1s at high major and they're going to low major. I know again, Winston-Salem State, one of their key players was a big man by the name of Jalen Gibson. He actually started his career at NC State. Didn't play a lot there and was able to get some more playing time at Winston-Salem State, obviously at the D2 level. Was an all-conference player, has a couple more years of eligibility left. So they were able to grab him, but then they lose a guy like Samaj Teal, who played with Justin Wright and had some D1 level interest coming out of high school, but it was in that 2020 year, COVID, and he decided that this was kind of where he wanted to take his steps, and so now they have to replace him. So a lot of that is going on around the college basketball world. Speaking of North Carolina A&T, the news came out last week that Monty Ross is going to be the new head coach over at North Carolina A&T. Now they have not pronounced it yet, but they have a track record of being a little slow with that stuff. But it was one of the worst kept secrets in Greensboro, in North Carolina. Coach Ross is a Winston-Salem State University graduate, played for the legendary Big House Gaines in the late 80s, early 90s, was a teammate of Stephen A. Smith. So, it's going to be really interesting to see how he does there in that role. And shout out to my guy, David, for being in the comments and letting us know. That's the thing, a lot of guys will get seduced by some of those high offers, and maybe they're not a high level player. Other guys will, maybe be a little bit underrated. And then as their game develops, now other coaches are seeing them and poaching them. Let's just be honest. It's what goes on. It's 2023, so everybody knows what goes on. And so a lot of that is going on. We still have one outstanding coaching job at the D1 level at HBCUs, and that is Coppin State. Of course, we know that they let go of Juan Dixon. Something that a lot of people didn't think was going to happen or wasn't quite sure. But I think everybody knew it was pretty much, no one was truly surprised that it happened. But now they have to look to rebuild their program. And we're now in mid-April, approaching mid-April. So you want to do that as quickly as you can, because with the transfer portal, it offers you the chance to lose a team before you get there. And then you have to try to build it up in the portal. And, once you get to a certain point, you're kind of scraping at the bottom of the barrel. So It'll be interesting to see how the new hires get in there as well. So I just want to kind of drop this new news on you guys in this different format, see how you guys are receptive to it, a little bit more interactive. So that's what's going on in the HBCU basketball world right now. Of course, again, high school players are starting to commit. So if guys have any questions or anything like that, obviously HBCU football is going on right now, spring football. A couple teams have finished up. North Carolina A&T's finished up. I believe Hampton finished up this last weekend, but it's like everybody's doing their spring games this weekend on April 15th. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop. Obviously, if you guys have checked out, what's going on with Jackson State, they already had a lot of holes to fill. As far as what's going on with the departure of Coach Prime. And what's going on with that. But they also now their running back Sivion Wilkerson, Coach TC Taylor is reporting that he's away from the team. He's still a part of the team, but he has been away from the team as they practice. Which you never really want from your leading rusher. Nevertheless, that's kind of where they are with that right now. So it's going to be a very interesting situation to watch. You guys let me know in the comments what you think will happen. Wilkerson is a guy who started his career at Delaware State. He has now transitioned over to Jackson State, had a really great year for them last year, taking some of the pressure off Shedeur Sanders and the passing game in some of those games where they just didn't have it the way that they would want it. And so, here we are, now a year later after he's transferred in, and it's going to be interesting. Spring football is fun. It's great to talk about. It's great to speculate about. Before a lot of players, the deadline, I believe, to get in the transfer portal is April 15th. They've established deadlines now, so it's not just a rolling thing as it had been for a little while. So it'll be interesting to see as we get closer to that April 15th date, which is on Saturday, if he hops in the portal or not. But nevertheless, they got a lot of pieces to replace. Obviously Shedeur Sanders, obviously Travis Hunter, but even some of the wide receivers. We got a story up on HBCUGameday.com as well on that. Some of the pieces that they are going to be looking to replace. While we're talking about some of the news that's come out recently over the weekend, we can't not give a nod to the Fisk University gymnastics squad. These young ladies are spectacular. I was able to get a chance to see them in person at the University of Georgia. Got a chance to watch these young ladies. It was just amazing. Now, I will say it's my first gymnastics match, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really know what was going on. There was so much going on, but it's obvious that these, and there are, and again, being my first meet, I guess you would say, for gymnastics, I wasn't really aware how many Black young ladies participate in gymnastics, but it was more than I thought. So obviously, giving them a chance to display their talents at an HBCU and do what they love, I think is an amazing thing. And I think a lot of people are really excited about it. So we got Fisk, we got Talladega, who will be starting up soon. Maybe one day we'll see some of the bigger HBCUs do it, but I think it's great for those small schools for sure. I know Fisk enrollment has gone up. Fisk is in a lot of places that maybe you didn't hear them a couple years ago. So, we talk about how athletics can be a gateway to schools and increasing enrollment and awareness. The gymnastics team is only a dozen or so young ladies, but their impact is being huge. It's being felt everywhere. They're followed around with cameras everywhere. I felt privileged to go and watch them compete at the University of Georgia, where their coach actually competed. She was the first Black gymnast at her school, and she won a national championship. So I think it's great that, now students will have more options. They'll have the option of being able to play a sport that they love and also go to a HBCU if they want to. That's similar to a story that I was able to tackle a couple weeks ago with rugby. right? So rugby, Howard University has the only women's rugby club team, and they are a couple years in. But they're really excited about what they've got going on, and talk to a lot of the young ladies. Some of them had not played the sport before they got there, and others had played it before. Figured that once they got to college, they wouldn't really be able to participate in it, and now that it's there and it's an option for them, they're really excited about it. And it was actually a fun game. Like, I mean, it was again, my first rugby match as well. It was like football. It was like you had almost like a kick returner, running backs. I mean, it was and a very physical game. So if you get a chance, if you're in the DC area, make sure that you check them out. They also are going to be participating in a uh, they're also going to be participating uh, in a championship as well in North Carolina. They're raising money for that, so they're very excited about that. There's some other rugby clubs that are trying to form and get things started. We've also got a lacrosse going on as well. There's a league out there, Next Level Lacrosse, that's doing a lot of great things. Virginia State University, they are bringing along their lacrosse team as well. They should be teaming up really soon. They're actually going to be playing against Morehouse later this month. So if you're in that Petersburg, Richmond area, make sure you check them out. So a lot of great things are going on in HBCU sports beyond just the basketball and football game. I know everybody loves those sports, and I love those sports. That's why a lot of us are into sports. But it's great that go out and support your spring sports for sure. These young men and young ladies, they play just as hard as everybody else, and they deserve to do it. And I would also, I would say I would be remiss while we're talking about that. I would be remiss if we did not talk about cheerleading, because cheerleading was a big thing this weekend. The NCA, the National Cheerleading Association, they were holding their championships, and we got a championship. We got a national champion, so we definitely want to give a big shout out to Texas Southern University. I know teams at Florida A&M, at Jackson State, at Southern, North Carolina A&T did well as well. Also, we had a great showing for Bowie State too at the Division II level. We got golf going on as well. The PGA Works 2023 field has been announced. So a lot of HBCUs are going to be participating in that. HBCU golf is, of course, on the rise. And I think this is one story that kind of went under the radar this weekend. Sometimes when you get to the spring and it's weekend and everybody's out having a good time and with their families, sometimes stories like this are missed. But Charles Barkley, love him, hate him, however you feel about him. He has been very consistent with his philanthropy with HBCUs. And now we've got a new case of that. Well, it's not actually new. The announcement was actually made last fall about the gift to Bethune-Cookman University. And he gave $1 million, and they were thankful. They were talking about some things that they wanted to do with it. Then, of course, we all know that the Ed Reed saga, we know how that played out. We know how that played out. But anyway, we did. Our Vaughn Wilson did an interview with Reggie Theus. You guys, make sure you guys check that out if you haven't seen it already. A great interview. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, but hey, that's why we do what we do. So we get out there and talk to the people who are the decision makers and see what's what. It's easy to get out here and share opinions and things like that. But definitely want to talk to the decision makers. Reggie Theus told us that they had some plans for a facility, and lo and behold, they're breaking ground on it a little bit later this month. They will be breaking ground very soon, as you see the AD at Bethune-Cookman, Reggie Theus. You see those helmets there. Shameless plug. HBCU Game Day did donate some helmets to the folks over at Bethune-Cookman. We were happy to do it, happy to see the need and fulfill the need. It's easy to talk and report about this stuff, but it was definitely something that we wanted to do to spotlight that. But they've got their spring game coming up. It's a great opportunity to get out there and support what they've got going on. So, but big shout out to Charles Barkley. He's given out so much. He's done a lot. He's given a lot to HBCUs, whether it's in his home state at Alabama A&M, at Miles, in Atlanta where he lives, and or whatnot. He's definitely doing the work. So we don't always agree with Charles Barkley. Some of the stuff he says, hey, it's dead wrong. But, he does put his money where his mouth is with HBCUs. So, we have to tip the cap off to him for that. And shout out to Bethune-Cookman. They took a lot of there's been a rough couple years for them, but they're fighting back as a school, fighting back as an institution and as an athletic department. And we love to see it. So, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and round this out. Appreciate everybody for hopping on, talking with us. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and make sure you hit those notifications so that the next time that we hop on and have a discussion or just kind of talk about what's going on in the HBCU world. And as always, make sure you guys are going to hbcugameday.com every day. We appreciate you guys on behalf of the entire staff. This is SJG, and I'll see you later.